Well, Vivek ji is coming, so we'll begin then. I'll just give a brief introduction of mine. My name is CA R.Tulsian. I am a partner at R.Tulsian and Company. So my company is a CA firm, which is a multinational firm, which has offices in 6 countries. In India here, we've got branches here in West Bengal and in Sikkim, and we've got our own offices in the Middle East countries, such as in Oman, in Qatar, in Bahrain, in Dubai, in the US. So I am also an enrolled agent, so I look after the US taxation as well. So I can practice income taxation in the US, and we represent our clients before the IRS there, as well as I practice GST. At the same time, Vivek ji, are you? We can sit. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try to make this session very interactive. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Vivek Jalan ji, the chairperson at the Tax Committee, the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Sharvani madam and to the entire team for having invited me over here. So, as I requested, let's make this a bit interactive. I have put in more than 100 slides, but I believe I have just 45 minutes to 1 hour. So, whenever you have a question, you can ask me. And let's try to make it interactive. What I've done is I've tried to put in screenshots of real life notices of our clients in certain burning issues, since the time is the paucity year. So we won't be able to deep dive too deep dive into a lot of topics, but we'll try to cover a lot of topics. So if you have any questions, you can ask me here. Even we can take it off the dais and we can stay connected. So let us see the first issue. That is the demand for reversal of ITC due to non-receipt of goods. That is violation of section 16, subsection 2, clause B of CGST Act. What does this mean? This means that, do we all know there are few conditions to claim input tax credit under section 16, subsection 2, right? What are the conditions? That we should have a tax invoice or a debit note. Second is that the goods should actually be received by us, or the services should be availed by us. The third should be that the tax should reach the government exchequer, either through me, through RCM, or by the supplier. That is section 16, subsection 2, clause C. We will see that also. And the second one, which I spoke about, the goods actually reaching us in either a principal place of business or additional place of business, or as per our mandate to a third party place, right? That also needs to be fulfilled for the recipient to claim input tax credit. What is the fourth condition? That the recipient should file his GSTR 3B. The fifth condition, which has come from 1st of January 2022, can anyone tell me? That the purchase invoice should be available in GSTR 2B. Very nice, of the recipient, and it should be uploaded by the supplier in his GSTR 1. So right now we are talking about the potential violation of the second clause, right, which is the non-receipt of goods. Let us see. I have clubbed in few notices which are of the same mandate, where the goods have not been received due to other reasons, different reasons. Let us see the first reason. This is a screenshot of a client of ours from an audit discrepancy notice from Rule 101(4), where a departmental audit is happening under section 65. So they have put together all the discrepancies which they found. One of the discrepancies are that the purchase invoices vis-a-vis the vehicle number, they are not matching. They are saying, as per our analysis, these truck numbers carrying your goods invoiced to you, these trucks have not passed any toll point. If the goods are coming from, let us see the second column here, which I have highlighted. The goods are coming from Singhbhum, which is Jharkhand, where to Howrah, West Bengal. There are toll points, right? So those toll points, they say that the vehicle has not passed. What does that mean? That means, as per them, that the truck has not reached us. That means that it may be a case of either the supplier not being existent, or fake invoicing, or that I have not received the goods, plain and simple. So they are saying violation of section 16, subsection 2, clause B. Simple, you've not received the goods. Why will I give you the input? Now in this particular case, we will see there are several slides where I put in the documentation evidences which we should have compulsorily to safeguard ourselves during litigation. These are litigation points. These are litigation points. These may not be of the current time, because before 2019, fast track was not there. So before 2019, 2017, 18, 18, 19, there were very few evidences which we may still have. Because payment slip we may tear and throw. Consignment note we may tear and throw. Goods operator receipt, just delivery challan we may tear and throw. Right? And even if we send a staff to the border control, to the toll point office before 2020, all the documents which were not computerized, they're all gone and thrown away. So it becomes very important for us, for the past period also and for moving ahead the future period also, to maintain a list of documents to prove our case that the goods reached our principal place of business, additional place of business, so that we are entitled to claim the input. We will see that. This is one of the cases where they are saying that the goods have not reached because toll point they are checking. Second is, let's see this. They are saying that, sir, can anyone tell me if the purchase invoice for me, sale invoice for my supplier is dated on 28th of August. I received the goods on 1st of September. In which month should I be able to claim the input tax credit legally under section 16 subsection 2 clause B? Can anyone tell me either in the month of August or in the month of September? In the month of August, August has my purchase invoice date, 28th of August, but the goods have been received on the 1st of September. Very good. It should be the date or the month in which the goods have actually been received by us, right? So ideally now what is happening is, due to lack of internal controls, we don't have a material receipt note. Means when the goods come in, there should be a guard or there should be a store manager or someone to draw a material receipt note and a stamp that the goods have reached us today. We will enter in a tally on the same day, or cloud tally. We will put someone in our godown, in our foundry, in our third place, where right when the goods are coming, he will make the entry. But there is no such internal control. There are many other documents also which we'll see. What is the department contesting in this? Let us see this. The department is contesting, if we can see the first column, the third column from the left, these are all these purchase invoices which are dated in the last week of the month, 24, 25, 26, 27. Now if goods are coming from Surat, per day how many kilometers are allowed in e-way bill? 200 kilometers? If, for example, purchase bill is dated 29th of August, and goods actually are received on the 2nd of September, but I don't have any evidence as on when my goods are received. So what happens during departmental audit? During departmental audit, the department will say, Acha, which is the last date that the e-way bill is getting expired? It's on the 2nd or the 3rd of September. Kindly prove, you are saying you have claimed the input in the month of August. You are saying the goods were received in August. Where is the proof? If you can't prove to me right now, kindly pay interest of early claiming of input for 1 month at the rate of 18% per annum. Simple case. They are saying, give me the proof. If you don't have proof, what proof? Where is the e-way bill? Where is the tax invoice? Where is the consignment note? Where is the delivery challan? Where is the payment slip? Where is the material receipt note? Where is the store register? All of those things, if they tantamount and cultivate into me being able to prove that the goods were actually received on the 29th of August, I may be saved from the impending interest cost. But who even keeps these documents? In practical, what we see in practical business, back in the day, that these documents were not available. Let us see this third one. This is quite prevalent. This malpractice was quite prevalent before 2019-20, maybe up to 2020-21 also, in foundry industry, steel, castings industry. What used to happen that, let us see this. What is happening here? Industrial iron casting is the purchaser, my client. Neo Steel is the supplier. Neo Steel is sending the goods, selling the goods to industrial casting, iron casting. Where should the goods come? The goods should come to the premises of industrial iron casting. But the goods are going to a third party premise. Where? Chandra Alloy, some other person. Why? Because as on that day, there is a big nexus in the foundry industry. As on that day, industrial iron casting did not require that particular material. So this is sent to, for example, Chandra Alloy, third party. Whereas the invoice is in my name. Shipping address is in my name. Billing address is in my name. And then 2 days later, Chandra Alloy or through some other wire nexus, the truck is coming and giving me the same plant quantity, received quantity, everything which is matching my particular invoice. Now, where has this been unearthed from? These are live cases which we are seeing from our anti-evasion and DGGI for our clients. Now, there was a search and seizure on an inspection at some vendor's place. He also used to run a transport business. So in that transporter's premise, they got a transporter diary. In the transporter diary, they found this. What did they find? It was invoiced in the name of Industrial Iron Casting. Who invoiced? Who sold? Neo Steel. But where was it sent? It was sent in abbreviation. One name was written, Chandra. But it was not iron. It was not Industrial Iron Casting. So these are again what? These are handwritten documents. These can again be contested. As Vivek ji and the entire learned panel, they were discussing in income tax cases also. These may be called as dumb diaries. These may be called as loose papers. These may not be admissible until and unless it is corroborated by external evidence. Where is the driver's testimony? Where is the third party under oath? Where is he testifying that I have taken it there? So there are many case laws here under income tax jurisprudence, GST, pre-GST jurisprudence I put here for your reference. Now, what was I talking about? What documents do we need? These two slides are quite important. All those 3, 4, 5 cases which we've discussed, if we have all of these or a substantial portion of this, we may be able to defend ourselves before the GST department. Maybe in today's time, since GStat has not started operating, so at the department level, even at the commissioner level, we have come across circumstances, nothing taken away from the department, that they are a little more prone towards revenue. They may not allow input tax credit. In these cases, they may say that the supplier is non-existent, supplier is fake, that supplier is indulging in any fraudulent activity. You've not received the goods. So we will have to collect and collate all these documents. What are these documents? That industrial iron casting needs to have purchase invoice. Sir, purchase invoice से क्या होता है? Purchase invoice तो कोई भी बना लेगा. He needs to have e-way bill. Sir, e-way bill भी तो 2017-18 में तो था ही नहीं. 2018-19 when did e-way bill begin? 3rd of June, intrastate in West Bengal. 1st of April, interstate. So, before or up to that, e-way bill was not there. Okay, what is third? Consignment note, bill T, LR. ये भी कोई भी बना लेता है. We give it to the department, like ये तो ऐसे बन जाता है. Then, what do we give? The vehicle registration numbers, we download it from the Parivahan website. We have to go to this extent, saying that the vehicle was existing during that time with a proper license and an insurance and with national permit. What else do we have to give? What else do we have to give? We have to give bank receipts where we have made payments to the creditors. They will still not believe. Then we will have to what? What do we have to do? We will have to make this kind of a table. What does this table say? Just a moment, please. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Let us see this table. What do we have to prove? From the point of purchase, then received, production happened, point of sale further, the entire nexus and trail of goods we need to prove. This is from an excerpt from my article which was published in GST newsletter. This was fortunately circulated with senior departmental officers, even with the MPs and the state cabinet ministers. Here, as you see, inward quantity is 80,730 kg. 80,730 kg. We need to prove that Swastik International, we purchased through 4 invoices. We sold through 5-6 invoices with Sri Hari Steel. How much did we sell? 75,590. Remaining is 5,140 kg of scrap. Next year we sold scrap. We need to show the entire trail. Still they will not believe. They will be like, oh, we don't have any proof. Then what do we need to keep? We need to have material receipt notes, that the goods received against these purchase orders, against these delivery challans. It even goes to the extent that you take photos of the trucks when they are unloading with their vehicle number, so as to have some evidence that this vehicle exists, this vehicle as on this date with timestamp has delivered our goods. It's going to that extent. So, I have mentioned a list of all of these documents which I believe we use in our cases. Still, we may get a biased or we may not get a completely assessee favorable order up to the commissioner level here. We may wait till GStat is formed. But I'm sure if we have most of these documents which we have spoken about, this we are talking about the supplier side. The sellers, the customer side also, I have put in all these documents. Also, we have gone to the extent of giving copies of ledgers of power, fuel, electricity. That during this period of time when the goods came, you are saying goods did not come. How is my fuel, electricity of the same cost as previous year at this time? If I didn't have goods, it would be shut. So these are circumstantial evidences. Okay, I have also given a link of this article where I have put all these examples with more than 10-15 case laws which we usually use in appeals for your perusal. So it is a hyperlink, you can click on this, since obviously we cannot discuss all the case laws. These are also pre-GST case laws where they are saying that if the supplier has not received goods, it is not a mandate that you will also not receive goods. Your supplier can be fake. But now, what is the current jurisprudence? There is a Supreme Court case law of Ecom Gill Coffee Trading Company. What does it say? The Supreme Court, the department quotes this. In their objection, in their order, they say that only invoice or only bank statement or only e-way bill is not sufficient. You need to give all of these documents which we just discussed. Consignment note, LR, the details of vendors, the vehicle numbers, all of those details you need to give circumstantial evidence, then only we may believe. So there are several other case laws also we mentioned in that particular link. There is one more case. Let us see this. What can we see in this slide? This is from tally of a foundry client of ours who's quite big, right? But see the fallacies which they're having in their accounting, which led to a notice and which led to a seizure of 7 crore of stock. But what was the point? The point was the raw materials, pig iron is mentioned, where the source, but there is no production entry passed. There is no production entry passed. Now what happened is on the 18th, if you can see on the top line, 18th of March 2025, with an INS-1, the investigation department, anti-evasion, they came up and they were like, sir, we have got tip that you are purchasing goods from fake suppliers. We want to do physical counting of your stock, physical stock with your book stock. Now, sir, what will happen? Now, let us see this example as I just showed you. Raw materials are there in the books, finished goods, production entry has not been passed, so finished goods is 0. But physically on the production floor, if it is not sold, the physical goods would be there, but raw materials will not be there. They drew up this release order later, after 2 months of getting behind them. What did they do? Let us see this highlight. That particular finished good of BB14. What is happening? Let us see the third column. What does the third column say? Number of goods closing stock as per books. As per books, no production entry passed. Only one finished good. But physically, how many goods were there? 230. Because production entries, even though not passed, but on the production floor, those finished goods were made. They seized 229 of them. Just because we did not pass the production entry or we did not keep it updated. What does that mean? That means that we need to regularly update. What does the GST law say on this? Rule 54, sub-rule 14 or 13. What does it say? The company, assessee, the taxpayer should have monthly production accounts. But it does not say that you need to update it monthly. You need to update it regularly so that if, God forbid, if any time, if some anti-evasion or DGGI comes with an INS-1 inspection, and if they do, they will always do your stock counting, because this is the biggest gap which they usually get. If your production entries are not passed, your finished goods are not there, they will withhold that. And then they will say that your raw materials are there in books, but your raw materials are not there in physical. So you will have a double whammy. This particular client was an army defense provider, supplier, but his goods were seized of 7 crores. For 2 months he had to stop his production. Then we had to file a writ because the state GST department was not letting this go. We had given so much of plea with more than 100, 200 pages of reconciliations as per us. He himself is saying if he does the reconciliation of grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 10, it would take him 10-15 days to do the actual perfect reconciliation of his own stock. Department comes in 7 hours they do reconciliation, say it is very scientific. So there are many case laws to contest that also, that you are not scientific, you are not technical, how can you do it in 7, there are more than 10,000 codes, how can you do so? But, so what I'm trying to say, see, this is the notice. So where did the tip come from? They would not just come and barge in, just say, oh, acha, there may be a physical, or they should have reasons to believe. What was the reason to believe? You are purchasing goods from 1 or 2 or many fake suppliers. So that's why they come in, and when they come in, they have the authority to check everything. And when they get into your stock counting, then that becomes another point of dispute. Okay, now what happens is during investigation, what happens? As we were just talking about INS-1, barge in, stock counting and everything. For example, they come across, I have not added that particular notice, but for foundry clients of ours, steel clients of ours, what's happening? These suppliers, the job workers, they are charging how much GST? What is the GST, current GST, before 22nd of September on general job working? Can anyone tell me? It is 12%. But due to lack of knowledge, the general job workers, they are charging 18%. Most of the people are doing. No problem, I am paying 18%, I am claiming 18%. Paying 18% is never a problem for the government. Claiming 18% where HSN tells 12%, 6% extra ineligible you are claiming. Give me a reversal of that. Means that's ineligible. And what about the 6% extra which you have paid? Get a refund. Either you or your supplier. Sir, 2 years have passed. I don't care. What is the time limit for applying for refund of excess tax or payment is 2 years from the date of payment. 2 years have passed, audit happens 3-4 years later. But they will catch it like 6% extra. Let's bring that case here. I have, what have I done? Okay. I have charged, for example, I was to charge 18%. Let's take the other way. I was to charge 18%, I charged 12%. Okay. Now what is happening is I'm going to raise a debit note. The department will like pay, whatever. Do you have to pay right then? Can anyone tell me? Without the issue of a show cause notice, without the issue of any pre-show cause notice DRC 01A, do you need to make payment before the issue of any of these notices? During the course of investigation, I'm not just talking about the day of inspection. 10 months, 12 months, 2 years investigation is going on. But adjudication process has not begun. Are you bound under GST law to make any payment during this 2 years before the initiation of adjudication proceedings? Can anyone tell me? We are not, sir, we are not. This is the departmental circular which came out, instruction number 01/2022-23. Mool mudda kya hai? Don't need to read all this. Main mudda kya hai? Until and unless adjudication proceeding begins, there is no recovery of tax. When does recovery of tax happen? First, investigation, inspection happens, search and seizure. Then, investigation carries on for some time, 2-3 months, 1 year. Then, show cause notice comes out in section 73 or 74. Fraud or non-fraud? Fraud. Show cause notice comes out. We reply within 30 days. Order comes out in 30 days. Then, what happens? We get 90 days to appeal. Plus 30 days for condemnation, 120 days. We appeal. Until now, how much money we paid? Only the appeal pre-deposit. Only the appeal pre-deposit, na. But if the officer is putting a gunpoint and saying, I will arrest you, you have more than 2 crores of default tax. You pay right now. So are you bound to pay, yes or no? Legally, no. But many people, to buy peace, to buy goodwill with the department, they pay under protest. They pay. If we win, we'll get the entire thing, we won't have to pay interest. 10% is the minimum, that pre-deposit which you have to pay. People pay 100%. We don't want interest. What I am trying to say here, you can make payment anytime voluntarily under DRC 03, no problem. So what is happening is that in this particular case, I have made payment, I had to pay how much? I had to charge 18%, I charged only 12%, classification error. 6% debit note I issued, I paid. During investigation, I paid. I said, kya karna hai? Debit note issue karna hai, 6% ka, I'll collect tax, I'll pay. Khatam. Now, theek hai, I have done debit note, classification error, I had to collect 18%, I collected 12%, 6% I collected more, I gave to the department. Debit note is one of the documents to claim input tax credit under section 16 subsection 2 clause A. We all know, first condition we just spoke about. The recipient, can he claim input tax credit in this? This is during investigation. Inspection, investigation, show cause notice has not been issued. Yes. Very good point. Let's come to the next slide. What did sir say? Section 17 block credit bars this. Why? Because in most likelihood, the notice which is to follow a few months later will be under section 73 or 74. Which one will they issue? They will do investigation, then they will say, no, by mistake, you did not pay. Or they will say, no, fraud, willful misstatement, suppression. What will they say? 74. So, what does this section say? Block credit, section 17, subsection 5, clause I. That it blocks ITC in respect of any tax paid in accordance with, see the words, in accordance with section 74. Now let's come to the rule. In accordance with का मतलब नहीं समझ में आता हम लोगों को क्या होता है in accordance with? Show cause के पहले, order के पहले, show cause के बाद, investigation के time in accordance क्या होता है? We don't know. Let's come to the rule. Rule 36, sub rule 3. What does it say? It's said clearly. What does it say? When the demand is confirmed and an order is out, if you have paid tax under section 74, fraud, you will not be able to get credit. The rule clearly says. So what's the dispute? During investigation, if I make any payment, voluntarily, for example, classification error, my recipient, he is getting harassed because the department is saying this is to under 74 in pursuance of 74. But what is happening is, he will take up this rule 36 sub rule 4. He says that, sir, where is the show cause notice? He's like, okay, today I issue the show cause notice. He claims it tomorrow. Sir, he will say, where is the order? So what am I trying to say? Until and unless an order comes out under section 74 subsection 10, which is fraud, willful misstatement, until the order, demand is confirmed, if we pay tax, supplier pays tax and recipient claims the input, he is eligible to claim the input. सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा यही है, ऑडिट में 50 लाख रुपया टैक्स पेमेंट कर दिए, लेकिन वो 50 लाख क्या था 3 साल बाद में, नेक्स्ट ईयर का 30 नवंबर पार, टाइम लिमिट इज गॉन, कैन आई क्लेम द इनपुट? बहुत जन लोग बोलते हैं नहीं, आरसीएम का कितना सारा होता है फॉर जीटीए, वी कम टू नो 2-3 years later, can we claim it? We can claim input because show cause notice has not been issued. Even if it's issued, order has not been issued yet. So 36 sub rule 3, this comes to our aid. There are case laws also which I have put here. You can see this. Main mudda yahi hai. Now for imports, if we do some classification error, bill of entry we file, we pay 5%, but it is 12%. Later on we make the payment of 7%. Can we get the input? Yes, we can get the input. No issue with that. Okay, can anyone tell me, abhi jitna apne baat kiye, when we are making payment during investigation, voluntary, nobody can force us to make payment during investigation. First thing clear. We are making payment 30 days before the 30 days. We are making the payment voluntarily before the issue of show cause notice. Second case. Third case, we are making the payment 30 days from the issue of show cause notice. Fourth case, we are making the payment 30 days after the issue of the order. Sabhi case mein kar diya. Appeal ke time mein bhi payment. Koi bhi, all cases in GST. Can I use my electronic credit ledger, or do I have to compulsorily use electronic cash ledger to make the payment of tax demand? Very good. We did not have clarity until a few years ago. The state department, center department, they used to jump and they will like make the payment through cash. You would not believe this. There's a big listed client of ours. Until last month, his old consultant, he was making the wrong set off of input tax credit. That is section 49. Section 49A, Rule 88A, right? So what they were doing is, they were making payment in SGST, means estate tax. We took over the file. We saw 1 crore plus of SGST credit. So what happened? We utilized that as per the order. He got a call from the next day, 21st of the next month after the GSTR 3B filed, he gets an informal call from the state tax department. Sir, where is the tax? You pay 50 lakh rupees for the last 3 years. There is no cash payment. Payment is happening. Payment is either through credit ledger or cash ledger. We all know that. But where is the nakat payment? They called them, the accountant. We did not go the accounting, just took the printout of 4988A. He said, this is the manner. Gone. No problem. These are tactics. What I'm trying to say is, now tell me something, if we are not sure, for example, to claim input tax credit or not. For example, we just spoke right now, investigation, we spoke about classification error, 12%, 18%, all that. So I'm the recipient of that. I'm not sure. कि भाई ये मतलब कि क्या होएगा नहीं होएगा, सर बोल रही है ठीक है, बट सर इतना बोलती है तो क्लेम कर लेती है, बिकॉज 30th नवंबर तो आने वाला है. दिस इज द केस ऑफ 24-25, 30th नवंबर आने वाला है. आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू क्लेम इट. So today I claim that particular amount because sir is saying. He claims that. Now what happens is, if he utilizes it, then it becomes the case of payment of interest. So what I tell my clients, if you're not sure about any input, you claim it, but don't utilize it. तब क्लाइंट बोलता है कि सर प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल कैसे है, हम तो आईजीएसटी क्लेम किए 1 करोड़ का, आईजीएसटी इनपुट तो सबसे पहले सेट ऑफ करते हैं, तो यूटिलाइज होना ही है, हम सीजीएसटी एजीएसटी को थोड़ी बैठा करके रखेंगे. There is one circular for this. This circular 19204, what does it say? 1 crore of IGST input if I have claimed. Today department says कि सर जो बोल रही है उसका सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑपोजिट जजमेंट आ गया है, आप गलत किए, you have taken wrong input tax rate of 1 crore rupees. तो उसमें क्या बचा तो सकता है? I tell him you utilize the IGST, but ensure IGST plus CGST plus SGST is above 1 CR. From the date you claim the input till the date of such a particular thing. So what does this mean? This means there is a circular which says that IGST input, if you have claimed incorrectly of any amount, you need to have IGST plus CGST plus SGST all combined more than the ineligible amounts. If that maintains from that day, no incidence of interest. So claim karke baithiye na, what is the problem? Claim that 1 crore rupees of IGST. If you can plan it that way. Now many clients of ours, they ask us this practical issue that sir business बंद हो गया है, हम लोग जयपुर में खोले थे, अब यहाँ पर पेपर का है, वहाँ पर कोल का है, अब जयपुर का सर तो अभी मार्केट बहुत खराब है and all that, so we are about to shut it. We have a lot of input tax credit stored with us. Input tax credit, if claimed properly with compliance of all the conditions, if it's not ineligible with due time 16/4, it's a vested right then, right? I fulfilled all the conditions, so it's money for me, right? अब when I have to close the particular business, my first question comes, 1 crore का मेरा cash पड़ा हुआ है credit में. मेरा कोई sale तो होने वाला नहीं है. How do I liquidate that? Can I take a refund of this? Can anyone tell me? Can I take a refund of an unutilized input tax credit under GST? Which are the two cases? One is zero rated export and second is inverted duty structure. We know that. Section 54 subsection 3, clause 1 and clause 2, right? ये केस में बहुत क्लाइंट लोग बोलते हैं सर मर जाएंगे, ये तो बोलते हैं कि आप इसको रिवर्स करो, ये तो बोलते हैं आप रिवर्स करो इसको, section 49 and all that, कि if your business is shutting, you have to cancel your GST registration, reverse the entire input tax credit. 1 crore rupiya I will reverse because I have that much of stock or capital goods. Now, you would be surprised to know that there is one particular case law, Sikkim High Court case law, that is allowed for a refund in SICPA, this one. Even though, now what is the main contention which they said? They said that, see, nowhere in the law it is mentioned that you cannot claim a refund in such a case. So, even though section 54 subsection 3 says there are only two cases, but this particular case law, SICPA India Private Limited in Sikkim High Court, this allowed 4.37 crores of unutilized input tax credit in case of shutting of business. On this particular thing, ki pre-GST era mein chaliye mil jata tha, etc. and all that, they have relied on Slovak India trading. This was affirmed by the Supreme Court. They used to say that unutilized SENVAT credit, it was nowhere mentioned in SENVAT credit rules that explicitly that your refund will not be given. So they took that mandate and they say that in GST, where is it mentioned specifically that in case of refund, closure of business, you will not get refund. But specifically in section 54 subsection 3, 1 and 2, it says zero rated and inverted duty structure. So this was a very favorable judgment for the SSS. But why am I mentioning this? Why am I mentioning this? I am mentioning this because this is going to be contested in the Supreme Court. This is a temporary relief. It's not a permanent precedence. But at the ground level, you may not get. If your business is shutting today, please apply for refund. It will get rejected. Let's wait for the Supreme Court judgment. So we can rely on this particular thing. Reversal of ITC on goods lost or destroyed. Can anyone tell me if I have fire in the factory, my entire stock is scrapped. Scrapped means burnt, and there is 0 rupees of scrap which I have sold. Entire thing is burnt. Usually, what do people say? People say, the consultants, they say that this is blocked under 17(5)(h). You have to reverse the entire input tax credit because goods lost, stolen, destroyed, written off, or disposed of by way of gift or free samples is to be disallowed. Now, what's the other, legal interpretation which is coming out in the legal fraternity? It is saying, let us read the heading of this particular section, section 17 subsection 5. Input tax credit is not available in respect of this which is block credit, is not available. If I had this credit of this stock claimed on, I was eligible to claim on the 1st of April 2024. At that point in time, I fulfilled all the conditions, I claimed it. 1 year later, some event happens. It does not mention about reversal. You have to reverse. It says that it can be interpreted that at the point of time of claiming, input tax credit is not available on these. But if it is available, I have claimed it, later on, I can take the interpretation that we don't need to check it again and again, or some event. In SENVAT, in pre-GST era, this rule used to be there, that you have to reverse, but here is not available. So there is no precedence as such, but there are, you may, if you say, you may claim this, but don't utilize it. Now, input tax credit on TR6 Chalan. Now, what is TR6 Chalan? Can anyone tell me? If you have to make payment of any additional IGST, right? When we are importing, for example, it's a classification of 12% IGST. I pay 5%. I have to either get my bill of entry reassessed or I have to make just the payment. For all those cases of 9610, where people used to get the imports under advance authorization and then they made the exports with payment of IGST up to a certain point in time. Now when they were rationalizing that particular section, so they all made the payment in TR6 Chalan. Now once they made the payment, the department, they are coming up and they're saying that this is not a prescribed document in your Rule 36, Subrule 1D, Clause D. What does first section 16 subsection 2 clause A? We already know tax invoice and debit note. वो सबसे पहले दिमाग में आता है ना, but what else is mentioned here? Any other prescribed tax paying document. If you have, then you can claim the input tax credit. What does the rule say? Rule 36, Subrule 1D. इसमें क्या बोलते हैं? डी, क्लॉज डी में बिल ऑफ एंट्री in case of IGST payment on imports, right? Or any prescribed document for the assessment of IGST on import. Bill of entry or any other document जिससे IGST assess होता under customs, right? You can take that. Now, as we know under Customs Act, section 17 and 46, the document, this is under self-assessment again, but the document on which assessment happens, self-assessment happens is again the bill of entry. TR6 challan is not a document on which custom IGST is assessed under Customs Act. तो अगर आप strictly by law देखेंगे तो TR6 is not a document on which you can claim input tax credit. लेकिन आप ये चीज सोचिए, करोड़ों, 10 करोड़, 5 करोड़ रुपया मैं पेमेंट किया, क्योंकि मेरा कुछ भी गवर्नमेंट का रैशनलाइजेशन आया जो भी TR6 से, मेरे को झमेला में नहीं जाना है, बिल ऑफ एंट्री रीअसेसमेंट. I have made the payment, there is no dispute about making the payment, there is no dispute about the eligibility of this credit. Can I claim this or not? Ideally, I should be able to. It will be a big whammy on my business. So, here there are few key arguments which are mentioned here. Like in the pre-GST practice, ITC was permitted even under the earlier tax regime. ITC was permitted on the basis of TR6 challan, despite them not being specifically listed. Again, second thing I said, they say that you need to have some other tax-paying document. This is so generated by the government. It's a government challan. What other document can I get? Those documents can be doctored. How can a TR6 challan be doctored? I made the payment. So these are few supporting arguments, even though here we've got few cases also, pre-GST cases, where credit cannot be denied if service recipient and tax payment are undisputed. Second is procedural lapses should not defeat the substantive rights. However, the GST law has a different view on this. सर कुछ भी बोले, जीएसटी लॉ को फॉलो करना है. व्हाट डज जीएसटी लॉ से? जीएसटी लॉ इन सर्कुलर सीबीआईसी सर्कुलर 16/2023, व्हाट डज इट से? इट डज नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज TR6 चालान as a document for ITC. तो सर्कुलर बोल दिया, बाइंडिंग ऑन डिपार्टमेंट, वेदर बाइंडिंग ऑन मी? नो. वेदर बाइंडिंग ऑन हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट? नो. इट्स नॉट बाइंडिंग ऑन द कोर्ट्स. सो इफ टुमारो यहां पर मद्रास हाई कोर्ट स्टे ऑर्डर हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस ऑफ डेटा पैटर्न्स, वेयर tax has been paid, IGST has been paid by TR6 challan, but they have challenged the department's refusal of giving input tax credit on that. So we can again, there is an advance ruling, adverse advance ruling also. So see, what is the best case scenario is that you get your bill of entry reassessed. But in case if you already made the payment, you're not going to let go of that particular amount, right? So you can rely on these case laws. Can input tax credit be denied to the supplier for non-payment? ये तो सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा था 17, 18, 18, 19. सप्लायर भाग गया, बंद हो गया, दिवालिया निकल गया सप्लायर का, चोर निकला, फेक सप्लायर, retrospectively cancelled. In those cases, what? I paid 1 crore rupees to him, he disappeared. Then what will happen? The department is coming to me saying that the supplier has not filed his GSTR 3B. So the government has not got the money. So reverse the input tax credit. So see, these are previous cases. Previous cases माने क्या हो गया? 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23 up to 1st of October 2022, when section 41 came out, and 26 December 2022 when rule 37A came out. Up till then उसमें ये मुद्दा, ये सब चीज चलता था, क्योंकि उसके बाद तो लॉ क्लियर हो गया when section 41 came and rule 37A came. क्या रूल है? Can anyone tell me? section 41 rule 37A. Can anyone tell me? आज एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं, आज अपने खड़े हुए अगस्त 2020, सितंबर 2025, मेरा सप्लायर, मेरे को कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है कि वो पेमेंट करेगा, बट आई हैव क्लेम्ड द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट 1 crore rupees. माय सप्लायर हैज नॉट फाइल्ड द GSTR 3B return. Hypothetically, अभी तो 6 महीना बाद में क्या, अभी तो 2, if he does not file 3B, cannot file 1. If he does not file 3B or pay tax in 6 months, he is again cancelled his GST registration. Hypothetically, it is 30th September 2026. मतलब अगले साल का 30th September. I am standing that on that day and I am seeing my GSTR 2A. This is 2A. There is column number 18 in GSTR 2A. What does it say? Filter whether supplier has filed his 3B or not. No, still no on 30th of September 2026 for an invoice of September 2025. I see in my GSTR 2B, in air table, table 5 of GSTR 2B of September. This is ineligible because supplier has not filed his 3B. But I knew it from September 25. मेरे को input reverse कब करना है? September 25 में कि 30th November 2026. September 2025, whether I need to reverse the input, I know that the supplier has not filed his 3B because it's showing in my 2A, 2B. But I wait out. I wait up to 30th September next year. And still I see. So, क्या लॉ क्या बोलता है, रूल क्या बोलता है, रूल 37A सेक्शन 41 सबसेक्शन 2 क्या बोलता है कि you can wait up to 30th September of the next year. You don't need to reverse immediately. But if you still see that the supplier has not filed his GSTR 3B up to 30th September of the subsequent year, go to your October GSTR 3B return and please reverse the input tax credit up before 30th November. Is this a permanent reversal in table 4B1 of GSTR 3B or table 4B2 of GSTR 3B, temporary reversal? Can anyone tell me here? Excellent, sir. Excellent, sir. Temporary reversal. Why? Why temporary reversal? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Once you claim credit, reverse it. There is no time limit to reclaim the input tax credit. In which cases? Which are the normal cases? One case we just discussed. Second case. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Which is the third case? Which is the third case? Goods have not been received yet. Invoice is there. Auto populates in my table 4A5. I reverse it in 4B2. Goods are still not hypothetically. 3-4 cases. Circular 170. What does it say? Circular 170 from August 2022. It changed the entire face of GSTR 3B. Temporary reversal came in. Temporary reversal. If your supplier does not pay his GSTR 3 tax in his GSTR 3B, reverse it, but not now. Reverse it on 30th November. Avail the government's money for 1 year or for as long. I'm not advocating that, please. I'm not using this forum for that. But the loophole is that you will not be required to pay interest on the input claimed in September 2025. Government does not receive the tax in September 2025. Government has not received up to 30th November 2026. And you reverse the input tax credit on 30th November 2026, no interest to be paid. So that is the law. That is Rule 37A. And this Section 16 subsection 4 limit, time limit, 30th November, it is not applicable in this, as esteemed sir mentioned, that reclaiming this Section 16 subsection 4 does not debar it. So these case laws I have put, these are all old case laws. Everyone knows this. Let's not, spend time to discuss this. I have put again, the link, hyperlink of my article published again in ICI GST newsletter, again circulated with 5 lakh CAs and fortunately was read with the, by the parliamentarians and other people. You can please go through this. I mentioned more than 20-25 case laws here which we use for appeals for this particular dispute. Sir, this is again an extract which we are discussing. This from the State Department. What are the cases? We don't even need to see this. If you have done GST, any bit of litigation, first case, 2A, 3B, mismatch. Second case, supplier, GST, registration cancelled retrospectively. After that day, reverse all the input. Third case, what? Supplier has not filed his GSTR 3B. Fourth case, exempt supply, taxable supply, merge. Where is the reversal of input tax credit as per Rule 42-43? Fourth case, POS, place of supply outside West Bengal. Sir, I'll give you one case, genuine case, but a harassing case by the State Department. What happened in our client's case? 5 lakhs of IGST. Karnataka, the supplier was in Karnataka. The destination of goods was in Bengal. GST is a destination-based tax, so it will be IGST, right? What? The place of registration of supplier, Karnataka. Place of supply is the place where the goods are stopped. It's in West Bengal. Both are different states, IGST. The supplier charged IGST in his invoice, uploaded in GSTR 1. But while uploading in GSTR 1, by mistake, in place of supply, he put what? West Bengal or Karnataka by mistake. Which one should be the incorrect one? Karnataka, because goods to reach West Bengal, place of supply is West Bengal. It auto-populated in GSTR 2B of the recipient. And remark is POS outside the state. He has invoice IGST. He has paid IGST. Karnataka supplier has collected IGST, paid to the Karnataka government 50% revenue, Karnataka 50% revenue, central tax. But still, he will not be able to get input tax credit. It's contested. He had to eventually, he did not want to go into further litigation. He took amnesty scheme. Because interest and penalty was more than 5 lakhs of the tax demand. He was like, 5 lakh jane do. These are procedural errors. These, if GStat was there today, we could have said with some bit of certainty and confidence that GStat would have, the last fact-finding authority would have listened to the particular case and we may have received but because there are many high court rulings which they say, as we have mentioned, that the substantive benefit should not be overshadowed by procedural defects. Supreme Court safari retreats. This case law, anything ringing in your ears? Safari retreats, what is this? Sorry? Yeah, and or. Sir was also mentioning and or. Isme, let's not go too deep. Everyone knows the facts and all. Today, आज का दिन में अगर मैं अपना गोडाउन बनाता हूं, आज का दिन में मैं अपना मॉल बनाता हूं, ऑफिस नहीं गोडाउन, जिसको रेंटल में देना है, पैसा कमाना है, प्रोडक्टिव एसेट. वी एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट योर एडमिन ऑफिस वेयर यू आर गोइंग टू कंडक्ट बिजनेस सिटिंग थ्रू इट. नो, दैट्स स्टिल ऑन योर ओन अकाउंट. पूरा 100 पेज का जीएसटी का जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट में 2 मुद्दा था. पहला मुद्दा क्या था? एंड और मतलब क्या हुआ? सेक्शन 17 सबसेक्शन 5 क्लॉज डी हैड की एक्सेप्शन क्लॉज में that any goods or services which are availed on your own account for construction of any movable property except plant or machinery. तो plant और machinery को plant word को use करके वो बोले क्या on functional test for a person who has a mall, he is earning money through that is his machinery. So you have to take a very wide view. The Supreme Court took a very wide view. He said कि उससे तो पैसा कमाता है, वो तो घर नहीं हो सकता है. How can it be on your own account? What does own account mean? Own account mean either you're using it as your business for your own activity or you're not using it for further account. Means you're not selling it, leasing it. Supreme Court क्या बोला? Sell नहीं कर रहा है, lease नहीं कर रहा है, license नहीं कर रहा है. तो on account कहां से हुआ? एक तो मुद्दा, 2 मुद्दा था. एक मुद्दा था and or, वो तो खत्म हो गया ना. वो तो पता है ना, retrospective amendment in section 17 subsection 5 clause D from 1st of July 2017. वो क्या हो गया? Plant and machinery हो गया. Plant and machinery का definition क्या है? Second explanation, last explanation to the clause. Any machinery, apparatus, equipment which is either fixed to the earth, etc. और उसमें 3 तो चीज माइनस करके रखी है. क्या माइनस करके रखी है? Any land or building, any telecommunication tower or any pipeline outside your factory. तो प्लांट, अब मॉल प्लांट एंड मशीनरी नहीं हो सकता है. वो एक पॉइंट से आपको रिलीफ नहीं मिलेगा, लेकिन दूसरा पॉइंट से हो सकता है रिलीफ मिले. दूसरा पॉइंट क्या है? ऑन ओन अकाउंट. सुप्रीम कोर्ट सेड सेकंड थिंग. Everyone knows the first thing very well. Second thing also Supreme Court said. Paragraph 32 of the order of the Supreme Court in Safari Retreats. What did it say? That on account कहाँ है सर? ये तो धंधा के लिए किया है. How can it be on his own account? If he is making a mall, he's sending out whatever, leasing out things. What is on your own account? On your own account का definition, what did Supreme Court give? I'm not saying this is Supreme Court. Supreme Court's language. Construction is considered to be on your own account when the individual's personal use or facility is used for a person's own business. Conversely, construction will not be regarded on your own account when it is used by a builder for selling or for any commercial person for leasing licensing. ये तो leasing licensing के लिए था, rental कमा रहा था. How is it on your own account? This is for your business. So till date, इसके ऊपर में राहत हो सकता मिले, but you will never get relief on the ground level. You may have to contest. So again, what do I say again? Circular 192 याद है? CGST plus SGST plus IGST. उतना तक claim करिए. Don't utilize it. You will not be able to pay. You won't have to pay interest or any penalty even in the future. कल अगर मानिए कि एक और कोई मैंडेट आता है, कुछ भी और आता है, एक्सेट्रा एंड ऑल दैट, तो एक से तो आप हारे हुए हैं. प्लांट एंड मशीनरी तो प्रूव कर ही नहीं पाएंगे बिकॉज इट इज स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन 17(5)(d. नाउ प्लांट एंड मशीनरी डेफिनेशन, बट ऑन योर ओन अकाउंट. How is this on my own account? I'm earning money through it. It's through rental. This I'm not saying Supreme Court paragraph 32 is saying. Supreme Court law of the land, article 141 of the Constitution of India. All courts need to follow that. So I can still take that, but I will not get relief now. Don't utilize that. Leasehold land construction. Acha, iska definition padhte 17(5)(d). Everyone knows this. Let's go through this. On his own, any goods or services both used for construction of immovable property on his own account, even when used in course of furtherance of business. मतलब क्या हुआ? Goods and services मतलब क्या हुआ? बालू, सीमेंट, इंटीरियर आर्किटेक्चर एक्सेट्रा, राइट? कोई सोचता है गार्ड का सर्विस, कोई सोचता है लीज होल्ड राइट के लिए हम पैसा दिए उसका सर्विस. Those are indirect nexus. I'm talking about direct nexus right now. ईटा, बालू, चूना and interior architect services. वो तो एकदम ही बंद है, right? On my own account, I will, that's block credit. Clear है, right? But in case if I want to construct some property and I want to lease it out for rental, I take it from a particular landlord for 30 years lease. I give him how much? 10 crore rupees, 50 crore rupees. And GST also, this is a taxable transaction. GST मैं pay करता हूँ 9 crore रुपया. Will I be able to get input tax credit on the same? Will I get input tax credit on the same? I'm using that plot, I'm destroying it, demolishing it, I'm constructing it. When I'm constructing it, in connection to construction, goods and services on your own account, it is barred. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? ब्रॉड व्यू क्या है? ब्रॉड व्यू है अपना सैंड, सीमेंट एक्सेट्रा, डायरेक्ट नेक्सेस. इनडायरेक्ट नेक्सेस क्या है? सिक्योरिटी गार्ड एजेंसी की ही प्रोटेक्टेड दैट लैंड. दैट ऑल्सो इज अ सर्विस अवेल्ड इन कनेक्शन टू कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ अ प्रॉपर्टी विच इज ऑन माई ओन अकाउंट. तो ऑन माई ओन अकाउंट तो हटाई दिए, ऑन माई ओन अकाउंट तो हम लोग की तरफ है, जो मैंने आपको बोला. तो व्हाट इज द नैरो व्यू? Narrow view is the direct nexus. Broad view is whether it is used directly or indirectly. So we can still say that assignment of leasehold rights, these are very, very, kahin pe GST law mein, if GST law as per section 16 subsection 1 wants to give credit, and if it bars credit only as certain aberrations, right, certain points, to main mudda to unka hai intention to give credit. So why should we take the narrow view? We should take the broader view. What is the broader view? I have very, very distant connection. Leasehold rights for the construction, assignment, construction of property. This is not goods or services in direct connection with construction of my property. On my own account तो अलग ही, on my own account तो मैंने बताया ना कि on my own, if I am giving it for rental or sale or lease, Supreme Court is saying it is not on your own account. It is for business purpose. वो तो point अलग है. That is तो in our favor. I am talking about the other points related to this. What is an immovable property? अच्छा, can anyone tell me one more thing? ये पूरा हॉल का मैंने पेंट कराया है, 10 लाख रुपया लगा है. कॉस्ट ऑफ इंप्रूवमेंट में कैपिटलाइज करता हूं मैं, फिक्स्ड एसेट में डेप्रिसिएशन लेता हूं, या तो उसको रिपेयर मेंटेनेंस में खर्चा डालता हूं. इन विच केस और इन बोथ द केसेस वेदर आई विल बी एलिजिबल टू क्लेम इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट और नॉट, सेक्शन 17(5)(d is still there. On my own account, this building is mine. I have painted, which is a supply of service or goods in connection to a immovable property. In respect to construction का definition पता है ना सबको? Renovation, etc., alteration, all that. अभी अगर capitalize करते हैं तो input ले सकते हैं क्या? Because it's an immovable property. अगर खर्चा में डालते हैं 10 लाख रुपया, ले सकते हैं. खर्चा में डालेंगे, accounting standard, section 133 Companies Act, accounting standard apply करना है, सबको follow करना है, वो violation होएगा क्या नहीं होएगा? 10 लाख रुपया मैं रिपेयर मेंटेनेंस में डाल दिया, वेयर पेंटिंग मे नॉट एनहांस दिस यूटिलिटी, सो इट मे नॉट बिकम, चलो ठीक है, पार्ट. बट इफ आई डू अ मेज़ानाइन फ्लोर, इफ आई डू सम परमानेंट फिक्सचर विच विल इंक्रीज द रेंटल वैल्यू, विच विल इंक्रीज द एफिशिएंसी और द फंक्शनैलिटी ऑफ द प्लेस, देन इट शुड बी कैपिटलाइज्ड. बट वो जीएसटी लॉ में लिखा हुआ है कि कंपनीज एक्ट में अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड का रेफरेंस लेकर के है. जीएसटी लॉ को क्या फर्क पड़ता है? देयर आर मेनी केस लॉज. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दिस केस लॉज आर सेइंग. Department is saying that, oh, acha, this is as per Companies Act, so this is a violation, accounting standard violation. But it's like, sir, GST Act में कहाँ बोले? GST Act talks about the discretion of the assessee. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, let's talk about this last point. In connection to this only, what is an immovable property? Bharti Airtel case. Now we all know about Bharti Airtel case. What's an immovable property? उसमें क्या बोले थे? Telecommunication tower. Anything anyone can recall? नट बोल्ट से टाइट करते हैं, उसको वैसे ही उठा करके कहीं और लेकर के नट बोल्ट से डाल देंगे. There is no damage. There is no permanence to the land. There is no availment of extra benefit from the land. Plug and play. ये सब जो conditions, I am not saying, the Supreme Court judgment in Bharti Airtel is saying all these are not just for telecommunication tower. These all are for these also storage tank, mezzanine floor, prefabricated structure. श्रीजन और में 5-5 करोड़ का prefabricated structure बनता है नट बोल्ट से, जो सीधा नीचे प्लेटफॉर्म बनता है, PES जिसको बोलते हैं, राइट? उसमें जाता है वो. Whether we can claim input tax credit on that or not, there are many advanced rulings. They say yes, they say no. But what is the maxim? What should be the principle? The principle should be derived from here. Intention क्या है? इंटेंशन ये है कि उसको हटाना है कि वहीं पे रखना है. अरे भाई, जब हम पूरा बनाते हैं 5 करोड़ का, तो द डिपार्टमेंट कैन कंटेस्ट ना कि आप बनाए हो तो यू वांट इट टू बी अ परमानेंट स्ट्रक्चर, you want to remove it or what? We all are sure about few things, right? Movable, fixed asset, input tax credit we can claim or no? Yes, we can claim, right? Even if we capitalize, if it's a movable property, these share tables, etc., we can. So, हमारा मंशा क्या रहेगा? हमारा मंशा ये रहेगा कि जो चीज के ऊपर input claim कर रहे हैं उसको हम goods का definition दे. Goods means movable. It's not an immovable property. हमारा मंशा ये रहेगा. But department will say no, it's an immovable property. So for movable goods, उसके लिए क्या करना है? Plug, play, no damage, और ये सब जो चीज functionality test, object of annexation, all these things, marketability उठा करके बेच सकते हो उसको. So these points, if I can extrapolate to my case, I can still claim input tax credit on these particular structures, storage tanks, prefabricated buildings, etc. But having said that, every case has its own facts and circumstance. So you should evaluate कि कितना damage होता है platform में, उसमें क्या, what is the permanence, what was the intention, what's the marketability of that, all of that needs to be taken into consideration. Okay, employee recoveries, I believe you guys can go through it. I believe it's already 4:30, I believe. I'll have to hand over the dais. But basically for canteen facilities, we all know, right, that employer and employee, they are related parties, right? So any related party without consideration is also a supply. But Schedule 3, it says that any supply or any activity received from the employee by the employer during employment, no GST is applicable on that. So there are employee recoveries. 100 रुपया का थाली था, 30 रुपया मैंने उनसे लिया, 70 रुपया आई एम बेरिंग, तो 30 रुपया के ऊपर में एम्प्लॉई रिकवरी, उसके ऊपर टैक्स लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा? लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा? क्या बोलते हैं सर? इनपुट मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? अच्छा, इनका 150 जन का फैक्ट्री है, फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट में मैंडेट है कि मेश रखना है, किचन रखना है, खाना खिलाना है. अच्छा, फर्स्ट केस लेते हैं, 100 रुपए का थाली है और परक्विजिट है, 100 रुपया पूरा चीज अपना जेब से एम्प्लॉयर देता है, उसमें जीएसटी लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा? उसमें जीएसटी लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा? मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूं, ये सर्कुलर बोल रहा है, जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा, बिकॉज परक्विजिट्स आर अ पार्ट ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. दूसरा चीज, परक्विजिट का मतलब होता है 0 रुपया मिलना, उसके अगेंस्ट में अगर कोई, मानिए ये सेकंड केस, ये मानिए फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट के अंदर में मैंडेट है 100 रुपया का थाली आपको देना है फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट में, इंपुट मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? जबकि ये पता है 17(5)(b) फर्स्ट प्रोवाइजो के सेकंड प्रोवाइजो, इट सेज दैट इंपुट कैन नॉट बी क्लेम्ड ऑन फूड एंड बेवरेजेस apart from the case where you do it further supply or whether it is mandated under law enforce. मिलेगा उसमें? मिलेगा. ये वाला केस में 30 रुपया रिकवरी हो रहा है, 70 रुपया जेब से दे रही है, 30 रुपया के ऊपर जीएसटी पेमेंट करना है क्या नहीं करना है? करना है? वेरी गुड. ये सब ये नहीं बोल रहे हैं, जैसे आशीष जी करना है, मैं बोलेंगे नहीं करना है, वैसे ही करके एडवांस रूलिंग्स भी यही बोल रहे हैं. ये एडवांस रूलिंग्स बोलते हैं केसेस वेयर जीएसटी विल बी एप्लीकेबल, ये बोल रहे हैं वेयर इट इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल. नॉट एप्लीकेबल का मंशा क्या है? उन लोग बोलते हैं कि ये धंधा थोड़ी है इनका, ये तो एक तो सर्विस दे रही है, ही इज डूइंग अ सर्विस, इज नॉट एडिंग एनी कॉस्ट टू इट, दिस इज मैंडेटेड अंडर फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट, और ही इज नॉट अ सर्विस प्रोवाइडर ऑफ फूड एंड बेवरेज, सो जीएसटी इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल. अदर पीपल दे आर सेइंग कि ऑन इंडिया योर लेटेस्ट जजमेंट इट इज सेइंग इट इज एप्लीकेबल. सो आप लोग इसको देख लीजिए. सेकेंड चीज क्या है, अगर मानिए कि 100 रुपया 100 रुपीज में से 30 रुपीज कलेक्ट करते हैं और 100 रुपीज वो पेमेंट करते हैं, चलिए सप्लाई साइड भी 100, 30 रुपीज में कोई जन लोग बोलते हैं जीएसटी लगेगा. 100 रुपया मैं पेमेंट कर रहा हूं केटरर को, उसके ऊपर इंपुट मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? 30 पे जीएसटी चार्ज कर रही है तो मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? सर 30 पे चार्ज कर रही है तो क्या सर्विस होएगा मेरा? रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस, रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस के ऊपर में जीएसटी बार्ड है. और 70 रुपीज का अगर मानिए कि मैंडेट है फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट के अंदर में कि उसके ऊपर में जीएसटी चार्ज नहीं करना, तो उस पर इंपुट मिलेगा. लेकिन 30 रुपीज जो रिकवरी कर रही है वो सिर्फ मेश का नहीं है, रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस कैटेगराइज हो जाएगा. रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस में इंपुट इज बार्ड. तो अलग अलग चीज, टेलीफोन का, नोटिस पे का अलग अलग चीज है. नोटिस पे का ऑल्सो यू कैन सी. 8 बजे के बाद में विमेन लोग को ऑफिस से मैं छोड़ता हूं, तो उसके लिए रेंटल कार में पेमेंट करता हूं. रेंटल कार के ऊपर में इज ब्लॉक रेट, राइट? वी कैन नॉट क्लेम. बट इफ इट इज मैंडेटेड अंडर अ लॉ इन फोर्स देन यू कैन क्लेम. This Tamil Nadu advance AR ruling, here with the notice pay also, recovery, notice pay में, your liquidation charges का जो आपका circular 178 it says, no, because हम कोई भी आदमी को हायर करते हैं तो उससे कमाने के लिए हायर नहीं करते हैं, हमारा मेन चीज रहता है कि सर्विस दे, तो दिस इज जस्ट अ mere flow of consideration, it's not mere flow of money, it's not a consideration. So this is to dissuade the employees. Okay, thank you everyone for a very patient hearing. कोई भी questions है आपका तो please do ask me, or we can take it off the floor also because we've run out of time. And thank you so much for a patient hearing, and thank you for bearing with me. Thank you all. Thank you.
I request Mr. Puranjit Sil, CGM Finance from Senco Gold, and the member of our Fiscal Affairs and Taxation Committee of the Bengal Chamber to please be on the dais and present a memento to Mr. Tulsian.